What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? This is going to be Love and Hip Hop Miami, Season 1, Episode 7. Now, let me tell y'all something. I said this last week and I'm going to say it again. VH1, y'all killing me. We got Love and Hip Hop New York, Love and Hip Hop Miami, and then Cartel Crew. That's too much. Anyway, so Love and Hip Hop Miami. Now, this had a couple of, we had one really serious situation, and I'm gonna say that one for last. So let's talk about some of the other storylines that are going on. So first of all, we have Amara La Negra and excuse me, y'all, and JoJo having a conversation, and basically Amara is like, look, Shay, we know that Shay is extra. Shay's doing a lot, you know, but you had your part in that whole situation that went down at my mom's event too. And JoJo starts talking about, how her and Pleasure are not together anymore, and she just makes bad decisions in men, and maybe she needs to go to therapy, and then maybe her family issues are. And Amara's like, look, let me tell you something. You don't need no damn therapy. You just need to stop messing with that, ain't shit dudes. She was like, I've been in, I was in an emotional abusive relationship. And what men do is they break you down. They make you think that you're worthless. They make you think that you need them, or you can't be, you can't survive. She said, and what you need to understand is you don't need that in your life. Just, you don't need those types of dudes. Like, you just gotta, make better decisions on who you decide to date. So then she says, Gunplay is having a album release party. She said, and, Kiara's gonna be there. She said, so I feel like I need to go so that I can clear the air with Kiara. I said, okay, I don't know how that's gonna go down, but okay then. So they decide that that's what they're gonna do. So then we see Kiara. Kiara's mom and sister are in town. And they're having a really good conversation. We hear a little bit more. We still don't hear any of the details about Kiara getting shot, which she may or may not even be able to talk about, whether it be emotionally she can't talk about it or legally she can't talk about it. Maybe a court case that's still pending or something like that. But her mom talks about the night she got the phone call that Kiara had been shot. And just as a mom, what that did for her. And Kiara was shot 3 times. Her chest, her ankle, and her arm, I think. And, she was just like, it was just a lot. So then they go ahead and they start talking about the whole gunplay situation. And her mom is like, look, what's going on with that? And she said, look, we're not together. We are friends, but we are not together. They ain't no hanky-panky. We ain't having sex. Nothing's going down with us. It is just that we are friends. She said, I'm not going to lie. I have feelings for him. Sorry, y'all. I have feelings for him, but at the end of the day, I know that I deserve better than that. And I'm not going to be treated that way. And her mom was like, look, I do think that, he loves you. I think he's a good guy. I just don't think he's a good guy for you. And I was like, okay, all right, we got it. I like her mama. I like her mama. And then her sister starts talking about, I just never thought he was your kind of dude. He was a little hood. She was like, we don't really come from that. And Kira was like, no, he hood, but I've messed with hood dudes before. I was like, I guess Kira was like, don't get on here and act brand new. Like, I don't be messing with no hood dudes. I mess with hood dudes. And then her sister said, well, do you see marriage for him? With him? And she said, at first, no. She said, but I could see it. She said, I definitely could see it. But of course, they got to get over the hump where they are now. So then she said, well, he knows that you guys are in town. And he actually wants to see you guys. He wants, another opportunity to try to make a second impression. Come to find out, when they hooked up, he met him the first time, he was drunk. His mama was like, well, is he going to be drunk? And she said, no, he won't be drunk. I'll make sure of that. And I'm like, well, if he's supposed to be clean, there shouldn't be no question about whether he's drunk, right? But anyway. So we'll get to when they go out for lunch. So next thing we see is Jesse Wu meeting up with Trina to talk to Trina about the industry. She said, that whole situation with that song is still not sitting well with me. And I know if anybody understands the industry, Trina understands the industry. So let me talk to Trina. So she told Trina what went down with the song. Sorry, y'all. She told Trina what went down with the song, and she asked Trina, "Is that normal?" And Trina was like, "Yeah." She said, it just depends on the relationship you have with producers and how well you know producers and stuff like that. She said, but at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, that's how the industry works. And I'm like, I said that 2 episodes ago, and I ain't even nowhere near the industry. And I'm like, Jesse, how do you not know that? How do you not understand that this is how the music industry works? You do a song with somebody, that doesn't make it your song. And again, those are the types of conversations that need to be had before you go into the booth. But neither here nor there. So then she, Jesse starts talking about, you know, the expectation of women in the industry and how, she's just not willing to just, use her sexuality. So then she starts telling Trina a story about she was hanging with some producers. They invited her to a pool party. She took a friend of hers. She said the situation didn't feel right, but they went anyway. And the two of them ended up being the only females at this pool party. And they ended up in a room with a bunch of guys. And she said that her friend left her alone in the room, and she was raped. Honey, I would still be whooping her ass. I don't know who it is, but whoever this friend that left you in that room, I'd still be whooping her ass. Are you serious? Like, I just couldn't. Honey. And it was hard, and it's unfortunate because we know, and it was a big Me Too piece to this. We'll get to that in a second. But we know that in the industry, in all walks of life, though, women are expected. We know that women have these horror stories of being expected to give up sex for favors and things of that nature. And then that same industry would turn around and call those same women hoes. And I'm like, but you tried to exploit that out of her. And of course, the music industry is no different. Maybe in some cases worse. So we'll get to that a little bit more in a minute. But then we see Joy meet with her attorney and with her brother, and unfortunately her brother is a victim of gun violence. He was shot 8 times sitting at a bus stop. Like, wow. And he's in a wheelchair now, but he went with her to the meeting with her lawyer. And basically the lawyer told her point blank, look, this is what it is. Because Joy's trying to start a business. She had a business and lost her lease, and she's trying to get another business, but she's having some problems. Another storefront, I should say, but she's having some problems. And what her lawyer told her was like, well, first of all, your business credit is mixed up with your personal credit. Your personal credit is mixed up with Trick's credit. Right now, Trick owed the government money. Trick has filed bankruptcy. Like, he has a lot of things going on that is in effect affecting your credit. And so basically what her lawyer told her was, you got some piss poor ass credit, and it has a lot to do with the fact that your husband got some piss poor ass credit. Then she said, and as far as the divorce is concerned, you would have to pay Trick half of everything you have to get out of the divorce. It's going to be very expensive for you to get out of the divorce, and it's going to take time because you got a lot of things to unravel as far as the businesses and the money is concerned. So, of course, Joy's upset. And her brother told her, look, I got shot 8 times and I'm happy. You can be happy too. Like, it is what it is. We're going to figure it out and we're going to make it work. Joy decides that she's going to have this high-end car wash to raise the money. Now, I thought she was trying to raise the money to buy Trick out of the divorce. She's trying to raise the money for the lawyer. Because she was saying how the lawyers were really expensive and it was just more money than she had. So, I'm going to jump to the car wash because that ain't that serious. So, they at the car wash. Chaos shows up. And, of course, he flirting and everything. Trick shows up. Being ignorant as shit. Talking about, well, I'm just here, to see what's going on up here. I heard Joy was doing this car wash. I just came to see what's going on. And maybe get somebody to wash my rims for me, I was like, you ignorant. He gonna take $40 out his pocket talking about some here you go. He was like, look, Joy, I ain't giving you no more money. Like, it is what it is. I told you could have a divorce. I ain't giving you no more money though. And I'm like, it sound like you ain't gave her enough money if she gotta have a car wash to raise money for a damn lawyer. Like, come on, stop it. Trina comes along and Trina is like, look, what is this? What's going on? And Joy was like, look, I'm trying to raise money for the lawyer. Trina said, why you ain't tell me you needed help? Because you always help me. You always been bailing me out, and I just didn't want to ask you for help because I didn't want to feel like I always come to you. Trina was like, so you going to have a car wash rather than ask for the money? That's a better idea. So she basically ends up giving Joy the money, and so thank God, Lord, let's go on and have this daggone divorce, honey. Get it over with. Let's be done with that thing already. All right. So on to something a little more serious. We see Trina sit down with the founder of Me Too. Oh gosh, her name escapes me right now. And she's talking to her. We found out that Red Table Talk. I actually was going to review Red Table Talk, but they were just coming out so fast. I couldn't get them. But I enjoyed the show. And Jada Pinkett has actually partnered with some other people to do some other Red Table Talks and sort of incorporate it into the brand. And so the founder of Me Too is actually going out and talking to women in the music industry to talk about what the challenges are as women in the industry. And so she was talking to Trina about it. And, Trina was saying, it is hard because she said when I first came out, that was just the expectation and I just played into it. The baddest bitch, that whole thing. She said, but when it was time for me to make my next album, I wanted to sort of evolve and get into some other things, but, I was sort of locked here. She asked her about, the things that go on in the industry behind closed doors. And Trina was saying, it's very prevalent, and she asked her about, why in the hip hop community does it seem like there hasn't been a whole lot of stories being told? Like, we know in the acting world, all kinds of things have come out with Harvey Weinstein and so forth and so on. And Trina said, because, it's just the culture of hip hop is that whole I'm not going to snitch type of thing. I know who did it. I know what's going on, but I ain't going to say nothing. And she said, and of course, when nobody speaks, it continues to happen. It continues to go forward. And so it looked like it was a really good conversation. I can't wait to see the full interview because Trina was talking some good shit, and then we find out that there's going to be an event where she's going to be speaking at an event. So she's going to invite Trina. And, of course, Trina going to invite the girls. And so we'll get to that. Why does my phone, y'all, and so I'm sorry. So we had Gunplay's event. Gunplay, Trick Daddy is there. He rolls up in there, and we see Trina, and he walks right into Trina and Joy. And, they sort of tag team him. And Trick was like, look, I ain't come here for that shit. Y'all let Gunplay know I was here. I'm out. Trina was like, and he doing what he does. He runs. He don't never want to deal with nothing. When there's any type of problem, he just goes in the opposite direction. I don't know what the hell Trick problem is, but okay, Trick, whatever. Gunplay's performing. Kiera knows all the words. She was like, look, I was there when he was making this album. So, I'm of course, I'm going to be here to support him. It is what it is. But the good thing that came out of this whole thing was Amara La Negra showed up. And, of course, at first, Kiera was like, I know the fuck she didn't show her ass up in here. But Amara said, look, I came because I wanted to talk to you. I heard, I want to talk to you about some things that I heard. And I heard that you seem to feel like I disrespected you and I was in Gunplay's DMs on some disrespectful type stuff. She said, so I really would like to talk to you alone. So they go off to the side. JoJo goes away. Her friend goes away. And Amara says, look, and I like it because Amara didn't raise her voice. She didn't get animated and extra. Y'all know how she can be sometimes. And I give Kiera credit because Kiera had to actually listen to her and heard what she had to say rather than, because she said in her confessional, I was ready to go there with her, but I wanted to hear what she had to say. And so she said, and it's funny, I've actually been in this situation before where I had a friend of mine had a confrontation with another person. and me and that other person friend stood off to the side, and we were just standing around like keeping our eye on the conversation to make sure ain't nothing go down. But we were just like standing in front of each other like, so how you doing? How's it going? It's a mess. Anyway, so Amar said, you know, you seem to feel like I was in his DMs on some disrespectful stuff. She said, first of all, I'm a friendly person. So, I did speak. I did, go into his DMs. She said, but, and, Kiara was like, I felt like something was off. I felt like something was wrong. So, yeah, I went to see what was going on in his phone. Like, something wasn't right. And, you were one of the women in his DMs. Amar said, did it ever occur to you, though? He's in the industry and I'm in the industry. Did it ever occur to you that maybe we were talking business? Maybe I wanted to try to do a record with him? She was like, no disrespect, but I don't want Gunplay. Like, I think he's a nice guy and everything, but I don't want him. And, I in no way tried to be disrespectful. That was not my intent. And Kiara was like, you know what? She right. I didn't think about whether maybe it was more going on. So, I hear what she got to say. I'm a believer. I'm a going and believer. I guess I don't have no reason to think she lying. And I was like, see, look at that. See what happens when maturity plays and wins out. Maturity wins out every time. So that was a really good moment, and I'm glad we cleared the air, because I was thinking about Amara La Negra being a hoe out here in the DM. So it seemed like it was all really innocent. It was just about business, right? So good to hear. We see Amara. I'm sorry, not Amara. We don't see Amara doing nothing. We see Gunplay with Kiera, her mom, and her sister. And this was such a really good scene, because they talked about the past. They talked about, and he was open to it. He took his hits. He said, he's like, I really love her, but I know I got to earn her trust back. I know I got to get her back. He said, and I apologize, the first time I met you guys, I had too much to drink, and I was wrong, and I was out of pocket, and I apologize for that. And first of all, Kiara's mom looked really cute. That wig she had on was beautiful. I love that wig she had on. It was really cute, and that color looks really good on her and everything. But she said some good shit. She gave Gunplay some good shit. She said, first of all, I believe you love my daughter. I don't question that. She said, but you're going to have to, she said, people don't forgive you when you apologize. People forgive you when they're ready to forgive you. She said, but something that's more important is, before you can love my daughter, you got to love yourself. And Gunplay was like, you know what? I haven't loved myself in a long time. She said, see, that's the problem. You can't love anybody else until you find that love within yourself. And until you find that love within yourself, you ain't going to be no good for nobody else. I said, you better preach, queen. You better preach. I appreciated that. I thought it was a really good conversation. And again, you can tell that her mom is protective, but that her mom is open to her daughter being happy. And if Gunplay makes her daughter happy, I think she just wants to make sure it's healthy, right? It was a really good conversation. I thought, a lot of times we see these mothers come on these shows and they act a plumb damn fool. But her mom was on it. And what she was saying was on point. Like, I can't find no lies in it. I can't find no lies in it. So I thought that was really good. And you could tell that Kiara got some good home training, because Kiara say shit. The whole time her mama was talking, she was just like, see, that's that good old, you better not talk when I'm talking type shit. So we're at the Me Too event, and Trina's there, Chinese Kitty is there, and of course Jesse is there, and they're talking about rape, and they're talking about being silent, and they're talking about not speaking on it. And of course Jesse sort of has a little breakdown, and she speaks on her situation. She said, I was raped. She said, and I have to live with the person that raped me, seeing them. She said, he's a very well-known producer, Grammy nominated, traveling the world, working with artists that I would die to work with. And how do I live with the fact that this man raped me and he was never punished? Nothing ever happened to him, and even seems like he's prospering and he's winning. And at the end of the day, I can understand where she's coming from, and I can understand how hard that must be to see the person that raped you be successful. And it seems like they just got away with it. And at the end of the day, the answer just is people to just speak up. And it's not hard. I mean, it's not easy. I know it's not easy. But the only way people are going to be punished is if the stories are told. And so that sparked Chinese Kitty, isn't that her name, Chinese Kitty, to tell her story where she was raped. And that's how it happens. One story inspires another story that inspires another story, and that's how it continues to move forward, and that's how the stories get out, and that's how people get punished. Because nobody is going to get punished if nobody knows. And I'm so sick. I got into it. I'm going to say this and I'm done. I got into it at the hairdresser last week because here in the area where I live, I don't live in Virginia, but I'm right near Virginia. And, of course, all the different scandals that's been going on. And the lieutenant governor is being accused of sexual assault. I'm so sick of the first thing out of people's mouth is, well, what took them so long to say something? And I'm like, that doesn't make it not true. Just because somebody doesn't tell the story doesn't mean the story isn't true. And I'm so sick of hearing that. And I know it's not easy. I know it's not easy to tell that story. But unfortunately, that's the only way people are going to be prosecuted is if the stories are told. But the thing is, what we have to do is when the stories are told, we have to believe them. And we have to let people know we believe them. Because why in the world would I tell my story if I know I'm going to be called a hoe, I'm going to be called a trick, ain't nobody going to believe me, they're going to question my story, they're going to dig up any bad thing I ever did, any place I ever went that wasn't appropriate, any outfit I ever wore that was too short. Like, why would I tell my story? So I'm just going to sit over here and suffer in silence. Because, anyway, that was what happened. Let me know what y'all think. Drop it in the comments. Peace. VH1, you got one more out of me tonight. Peace.